Welcome back to Game Day Live here at Breeze Stevens Field in Madison, Wisconsin. Our first semifinal of 2025 UFA Championship weekend is in the books. The Boston Glory have taken down the Salt Lake Shred, the East prevailing over the West. Ian Toner lucky to be joined here by Tanner Johnson-Go of the Boston Glory. We've also got former Minnesota Wind Chill coach Kelsey Hersey. We've also got two-time World Games gold medalist and San Diego Growlers coach Kayla Helton and 2018 UFA champ Colin Camp. Thanks so much for joining us here on the UFA YouTube channel. Tanner, appreciate you making time here. Your teammates are still basking in the victory. That was a dogfight. That was a battle. I know the margin ended up being a 4-goal victory. Talk me through the ebbs and flows of this game.
Yeah, well, D-line wise, like, we had a mentality kind of going into it, and we knew like our game plan, and we knew that if we just kept going with that game plan, like, we were going to get break chances. So from a D-line point of view, like, O-line might be faltering here or there. We came on, we falter on O. Like, it's okay because we know our game plan, and we're confident that if we get back to it, we're going to be in a really good spot.
What do you think was the key to your defense being able to apply pressure against Salt Lake's offense in some of the more critical moments? I'm thinking about the breaks that you guys got right at the end of the first half and the breaks that you got in the second half as well.
Yeah, we were just committing to playing tight. We know what they kind of like. They're a really good hucking team. They're like one of the top hucking percentage teams. So we wanted to actually pressure that a little bit more, see what we could get out of it. I mean, they actually ended up completing a lot of them, but we knew that if we kept applying that pressure and then when we got the disc, we just stayed patient and kept moving it, like, we weren't going to have a problem putting it in.
Tanner, championship weekend is always filled with moments. I think at the end of the third quarter in that game, there's a moment. Walk us through that. Walk us through the kind of the walk-off celebration and yeah, kind of let us into that moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's end of quarter, so we know everyone wants to huck it, right? We send two people down like everyone does to Mark, and all right, Mark's actually done a really good job. Like, Brendan and Ethan go down, they really pressure the huck, and they try to get a quick dish to kind of get the disc moving the other way. And in that moment, I just saw that it was a little miscue on the pass. I caught it, and B-Max screams at me, "Just throw it!" So all I do is I let it go out there. I knew out of my hand that he was going to be able to catch it in the end zone, and from there, I'm not really worried. I'm just kind of pumping up the team.
I want to zoom out from this game for a second and just think about your role on this team over the course of your career. It feels like this year there was a really intentional shift to embracing that D-line identity, and you've been incredibly effective at it. Great pulls, great coverage in the handler set. Talk us through how that came about, how that development and evolution has felt to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's really no credit to me. Like, that really goes to the coaching staff, that goes to Sam, that goes to Jake, that goes to other Sam. Like, they saw the vision and they coached me through every step. So we're having weekly calls, we're talking about positioning, who I'm good at matching, what we're getting out of it. So I'm really just like prioritizing what the coaches are telling me, and then on a turn, I know how to play offense. So I just gotta help the D-line O get into the end zone.
Speaking of your offense, some more heroic performances from Toba Takrana and Jeff Babbitt. Toba with 8 assists, Jeff with 3 goals and 2 heroic blocks. Yeah. What can you say about them that we haven't already covered?
I mean, those are the two, like, if they're not the leading MVP candidates, I don't know who else is. Like, those guys come up in the biggest moment and make the biggest plays, and they constantly save our team from what could be a damaging moment. And like, Toby had that huge layout into the end zone, Jeff that huge block. Like those are the guys that when you need someone to step up, they're gonna step up and they're gonna make the play that like we can trust them to make.
What do you think about your team's confidence and its ability to believe in itself and execute at the highest level in the playoffs so far? Because down the stretch towards the end of the regular season, lost 3 of your last 4, but put together 2 really strong performances dating back to the East Division Championship and today.
Yeah, I think that comes from the leadership. It's setting the tone. It's like getting us in the right spot to be mentally prepared for the games to come. I think like the punch that we took down the stretch, like, we needed it. Like, we were having a really good season, but there were a lot of tight wins along that road to like get us to that point, and finally we kind of got punched in the mouth going into right before playoffs, and it was just a reality setter for us.
So what does the rest of the night look like for you guys now? Obviously, it's a quick turnaround until tomorrow. You guys going to stick around, watch a little bit of the next game, head back to the hotel, kind of know what's going on at this point?
I think we might stick around like a very little bit, but for us it's recovery. It's like getting into the right mindset. So when the coaches bring us in and we'll have like D-line, O-line talks about strategy going tomorrow, like we're ready to listen and we're ready to implement what they say. It's just on us to get our mind and body right.
If you had to pick a team that you're going up against tomorrow, which team do you want to play?
To be honest, I'm like, I feel like I'm in such a good role player mentality right now that I've seen these teams play, but I don't really care. Like, the coaching staff is going to give us a game plan. I trust them that that game plan is going to get us a win. And
cop out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cop out, but I really don't have, I don't know. I've never played either team either, so You
win either way.
Yeah, I win either way. I get a new matchup, a new fun time, yeah.
Well, Tanner, congratulations on the victory. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you get to the ice bath and whatever else you need to do to recover.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Tanner Johnson-Go and the Boston Glory victorious over the Salt Lake Shred after our first semifinal. Game Day Live presented by Pabst Light, continuing with more breakdown of that first semifinal. And the second one coming up here at Breese-Stevens, Minnesota versus Atlanta. Don't go anywhere. Game Day Live rolling on.
Throw like a pro with a new Pro Ultimate Frisbee. Created with input from the sport's premier passers, the Pro Frisbee is specially designed to fly through the wind and maintain its edge. Experience the official Frisbee of the UFA and get yours at shopufa.com today.
Welcome back to Breese-Stevens Field, the first semifinal of 2025 UFA Championship weekend down. Boston Glory taking down the Salt Lake Shred. Ian Toner here with Kelsey Percy, Kayla Helton, and Colin Camp. Final thoughts on that first semifinal. It seemed like Salt Lake came out swinging. They really pushed Boston as much as they could, but at the end, they just couldn't capitalize on some of those D-line opportunities where, by comparison, Boston was perfect with its break chances.
I really thought Salt Lake did a good job in the first half of trying to change Boston's tempo. Like Salt Lake was really trying to get them to play at their elevated tempo and speed, and I think where Boston really researched was they were able to control the game down the back half. They played like champions, and I think they will be the heavy favorite going into tomorrow.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Boston's composure, especially with the Shred coming out with a lot of fire and going for those like big play, flashy play blocks early on. Really impressed with their composure. Salt Lake was doing a lot to force the throws upfield. Their marks were going no dump around, and Boston didn't seem to be fazed by that at all, so I was really impressed.
Yeah, for me, I mean, obviously Boston's big players stepped up, which is what we talked about in the pregame show. We anticipated if they were going to win this game, the big players needed to step up. DeCrona had a huge game. Babbitt stepped into big moments. I mean, this Boston team is going to be tough if those guys continue to play at that level.
So let's shift gears to the next matchup here unfolding on Breese-Stevens Field. It's a rematch of a regular season matchup that we saw between. My brain was failing me for a quick second. It's been a long day. It's the Minnesota Wind Chill facing off against the Atlanta Hustle. And Minnesota got the better of that one at TCO Stadium. And what do we expect here these teams are going to be at fuller strength relative to where they were when they faced off in the regular season. Kelsey, you know this Minnesota team so well. We've seen them step up in the biggest moments to capture a championship, a Central Division title. What do we think we're looking for here from Minnesota tonight?
I mean, Minnesota wants a hot start. They want to come out hot. They want to be aggressive. They want to be leading with their defense. Minnesota is on its back heel when its offense is taking all the pressure. So they want this game to be dirty. They don't want it to be clean. They want to really play a gritty, grindy game. And the more that they can knock the hustle out of their poised, possession-based offense, the better Minnesota's going to be.
How much does the absence of wind, relatively speaking, especially compared to what we saw in Chicago in the Central Division Championship, how much does that challenge Minnesota's ability to do that?
You know, that's an interesting question. I think it definitely makes it more difficult just because anytime there's wind, Minnesota gets an internal boost where it's a mentality thing of wind is their game, right? And they own that in a way that few other teams do, but at the same time, they are capable of still getting in. I think the more elements there are, the more it plays in Minnesota's favor. There being less definitely leans more towards Atlanta. But again, who can take that first swing?
Kayla, you've coached against this Atlanta team multiple times. You pushed them to the brink. They need a buzzer beater to get the better of your side. I hope it's not too soon to bring that up.
A little too soon, but I'll take it.
Thanks for indulging me just for a second. The point is, you know how to draw up a game plan that pushes Atlanta to its limit. What do you think are the keys to success against this group that maybe has gotten the monkey off its back from its mental struggles in the last few seasons and has finally reached this championship weekend stage?
Yeah, if you can force them to be a little bit more risky, we know they want to play a safe possession-based game. So if you can kind of mix up how much pressure you're putting on their handlers, where maybe they feel comfortable, they turn, they know their dump's open right away, and then all of a sudden they turn and there's someone super locked in and tight. You can kind of throw them out of that rhythm. I think that'll do a lot towards making them choose things that they don't really want to throw.
Colin, I know you and I have been skeptical of Minnesota's offense over the last couple of years, but that hasn't really deterred their ability to succeed. It's made things a little tougher for them. I'm curious what you think the X factor is going to be in tonight's matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. For me tonight, it's Quinn Snyder. We haven't seen a lot of him this year, but when he is on the field for this Minnesota offense, he makes a huge difference. He's one of the elite downfield offensive players in this league. And he's very familiar with this group. Don't get me wrong, right? He's only played 3 games this year, but he is very ingrained in this team. And if Quinn Snyder steps up tonight, it changes this Minnesota offense in a way that the Hustle didn't see the last time they played.
Snyder fresh off a silver medal with Team Canada at the World Games a few weeks ago.
I'd say I'll take your X Factor, Colin, and I'll raise it another because Quinn Snyder, yes, just came from the World Games, is jet lagged. Can he give a prime performance? We saw an incredible performance him at that World Games, losing, getting the silver, but just by 1. And it just a thoroughbred performance from him in that. But again, can he bring the best version of himself to this game? It makes that X factor even more because if he can play at that level, he could absolutely take over.
We're running out of time here. I want to put everybody on the hot seat and ask for our picks going into this matchup. Who do you have, Atlanta or Minnesota? Let's start with Kelsey.
My boys, Minnesota. They can do this.
Reasoning?
Reasoning? They've got the big game experience. They've been here. Their goals were not just to make it to playoffs, make it to the championship weekend. Their goals were to win, and they've been grinding for this all year.
Kayla?
Going with Atlanta, not just because they beat us 3 times, but I think with the 0 wind, really perfect conditions, it lends itself towards that team. And I have a lot of confidence in their offense.
Yeah, I feel like there's just a larger body of work over the course of the entire season that Atlanta has to draw on. More challenges, more successful data points relative to Minnesota.
I think I know what your vote is.
I'm going with the Atlanta Hustle. I'll be happy to be wrong, and I know this team's proven me wrong multiple times before. I'd love to eat my words and see a great game, but I'm going with the Hustle. Colin.
Yeah, we've talked about Atlanta being this team that overcame a mountain, and they have all this momentum on their side. They don't feel like they're fighting against some old demons. They're also the data analytic darlings. That being said, we're taking the chill, baby.
Let's go.
Chili in the house.
Chili Bear. College camp fulfilling those duties. And we'll see if he can keep that on throughout the sidelines through the entirety of this game. Any final thoughts from you guys on the X factor that you're? What are you doing? We got to finish this segment. Put that on. Put that back on. You can't get out of here that early. Any final thoughts on the X factor, strategically or personnel-wise, in this game?
I mean, coming to me, I really think for Minnesota, Gordon Larson is going to be a key part. We know how effective their defense is. I could pick any of like 6, 7, 8 guys off of the defense who will be X factor, but for their offense, for them to stay in this game, offense has to execute. I think Gordon Larson is a huge part of the glue. He's been coming back more into that handler role, especially with the loss of Leo Silva Hernandez. That's going to be huge. And I think he could be a part of what keeps them consistent and competing and in the game. For Atlanta, I mean, I want to see a big performance from Hayden Austin now for that same reason. He's that mid-tier, really glue personnel. When he's firing well, it seems to me that Atlanta moves a lot smoother.
Yeah, for me, I got to shout out my World Games teammate, Brett Holzmeyer. He's just not only a playmaker, but just such a consistent player for that team. He does so much for them. I mean, he picks up in the double team, like rollout situations. He's their end of quarter guy. He'll come back and get the reset at line of scrimmage if they need it, and I really think he's going to go up tonight.
For me, I'm interested to see this coaching battle, to be honest. I think there's going to be a lot of changes throughout this game that need to be made. There's going to be ebbs and flows. These are two of the best coaches in the league, and these guys are really in for a fun matchup tonight because we are going to see so many ebbs and flows.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Game Day Live, presented by Pabst Light, the second semifinal of 2025 UFA Championship Weekend. Coming up in just about 6 minutes. Fire up that watchufa.tv login on any device and join us there. Atlanta versus Minnesota, the rematch, coming your way in just a few moments.
The game's biggest stars on the game's brightest stage. The world's most competitive annual tournament pits the playmakers and the game changers against one another in a weekend of action. So many legacies on the line in this game.
Arguably the best player.
And that's just ridiculous.
She's got it,
And it's over.